Okay, let's make sure we got the right chat settings. Live chat. Always default to live chat, damn it. Okay, so this is going to be a companion episode to what we did yesterday, which was to airbrush these hovel buildings I have. These new old hovel buildings. Good thing about these Pringles lids, they're totally reusable. Stuff doesn't stick to them. Pretty handy, actually. And you got a little rim on them, so you got to make a big mess to make a big mess. Things got to go sideways big time. All right. Well, it's a little kind of early, before 6 p.m. We'll see who shows up. We painted, or we primed, 5 buildings. Hey, and this is one of them. All 20 millimeter scale, 1/72, however you want to look at it. They're kind of unique in their own way. They've got these steps that are more steep than an Aztec temple. So, they're quirky, but they paint up really well. And let's just take a look at them, and we're going to make sure that we didn't miss any spots. We'll touch them up with the old primer. This is the primer that's inside. Enough to hide a tiger. I don't know that he could fit in there. He'd probably fit underneath, but I don't know how he'd get out. He could bust through that wall like the Kool-Aid man. Oh, yeah! But then, it could fall down on him, and they got a problem. So... just make sure you don't bring your tiger into a basement, a building with a basement. That's bad news. This has a crack here that I feel like I need to repair that before I go any further. And let me guess, the super glue's outside. Father mucker. Okay, we'll be right back. I'm gonna grab the super glue. I'm coming. I got the house to myself for, I don't know how long. An hour? All right. I went ahead and brought the X-Acto knives because I bet they're not in here. Okay, let's see. Can I move this enough to squeeze some in there? Where's the other break in this? That's a good testament. It's not much of a gap there. Whew. I'll tell you what, we're going to I don't think this is one of the damages that I caused. Maybe it might have been. You know what? I don't have any sealed windows now. Then that's to... Okay. So we're going to take a look at these and see if they need to be adjusted. With any painting that was missed. I'm going to go ahead and squeeze some of this stuff out. This stuff. And use a brush that we're going to terrorize. And make sure all these recesses definitely have black on them. I don't see a whole lot on this one, which is good. I probably would have missed a heck of a lot more if I was hand painting it. Windows look good. Okay, put it back in the box. It's probably a pretty safe place for it to be. Put it back in the box that it came in. Cane headed my way? Not that I know of. It's dry as shit. It's not June yet. We're not supposed to have one. No, it got up into the 90s today. Pretty darn hot. But lately, last couple of weeks, you know, the weather people are usually incorrect, but they've been extra incorrect lately. One day it was like a couple weeks ago, like we're supposed to get 0.15 inches of rain, and then they were so wrong. We got like 4 inches, you know, which is fine, but I usually don't look at the predictions. I look at the radar and make my own predictions. Unless something's going to materialize over you out of nowhere, you can kind of gauge when stuff's going to arrive at your place on your own. You don't need some weather nerd burglar telling you. There's a little bit of resin that was showing through there. Very little. I'm honestly pretty surprised how little touch-up these really require. But that's also why it took me so long to prime these. I didn't really want to miss any nooks and crannies. Not that it's a big deal if I do, but so this has a sign on here. There's like a factory or something that has a sign. So I'm planning on making a sign out of probably some evergreen stock, and then use some of this stuff to stick it on. So I can, you know, just a couple little spots, just so I can switch it out if I need to, you know. It might need to be in Cyrillic for Russia, and although this would have to be somewhere really built up like Kharkov or, God forbid, Stalingrad. Okay. That one done. This one. Why'd you say a hurricane was coming this way? Eventually. Is there one on the radar? Or is this just kind of like an obvious thing? Hurricane coming my way, yeah. Mexicans are invading your state. I gotta look at the map. Let's see. Oh, I'm not sure I can do this. There we go. I mean, I don't want to curse myself, but we are kind of in the safest spot for hurricanes in the state. I was in the safest spot. Now we're, I don't know, maybe even safer. Hurricanes cause a hell of a problem with my job. Then people can't decide when they're going to close, if they want something, if people are going to come in, just all that drama. On your own free time, it's not much of an issue here. This one needed like nothing. Got lots of inside. None of it needs to be touched up. Perfect. Here's an intermediate level. It's pretty well coated as well. This cough from the damn convention. Not all the time. Now it's just pretty much only when I drink something cold, but man, it's annoying. The Brazilian whooping cough. Still didn't miss any work because of it. And I even had a fever. And no, it wasn't COVID. I'm glad it wasn't. I didn't want them taking my COVID virginity away. I got one of the other flus that we always had. Always will have. It's just not as flamboyant. COVID, the flamboyant flu. This is one of the last ones I did, I think. Well, this one can't be Russian. It's got drainage on it. In Russia, they wouldn't have put that. They're just like, it's raining, comrade. Yeah, deal with it. It's time for your yearly wash. I wonder if there's any people out there that are like, that absolutely hate Putin, but then they think Stalin was a good ally. How about they're both assholes? Okay? If you're a dictator and you're short, you're probably an asshole. That's where I put my money. One guy was on that. You know, I've mentioned this before. There's a couple of Facebook groups that involve like historical photos. One of them is like Naval Historia, I think is what it's called. Another one has to do with like land warfare and tanks and stuff like that. And there is just some ignorant stuff that get put on there. And it's ignorant because, you know, other people may not be really well informed, and it sends them off. And now you some people might say, well, it's their own fault for not double checking everything. But, you know, I don't like people hearing wrong stuff, and then it just creates. I'm not talking about current events. I'm talking about stuff that happened 80 fucking years ago or older. So today on the Naval Historian site, there was a picture of the Lutzow in a Norwegian fjord. Some of you guys have probably seen it, and it's a black and white photo, but she's got kind of this cool splinter black and white looking camouflage. It's not really black and white, but that's what it looks like. It's light gray and dark gray. But anyways, so this is the opening poster on the Naval Historia site. So technically, it's probably one of the administrators, and it said the Hipper class heavy cruiser Lutzow, and it's like all the stuff that came in after that. I didn't know it was a member of the Lutzow class, all this kind of stuff, and I put on there. I usually don't post on that. I'm like, there's a lot of ignorant that always are, face palm ignorant comments. I just usually don't come in from the opening poster. Come on, folks, check what you're putting down before you write it down. Some people are so eager to get that merit badge that they'll say whatever. Like that one that had the picture of the Tirpitz. I'm like, oh, man. Was that the one that was the one that blew up the Invincible at the Battle of Jutland? At least I didn't say Trafalgar. Yeah, that's the bad thing about the internet. It gives everybody a voice, and some people are either trolls or just really misinformed, and they misinform even more people. Then you gotta do all that damage control. That's it. There's not much on there. That's a blessing. So where do we go from here? Well, Whole Red's still out here, isn't it? I'm gonna do some brickwork. Nope. That's a MIG paint. MIG ammo paint. Which one is it? Ammo by MIG. All right, where's my Whole Red? This one? Yep. All right. We're not going to paint all the brickwork on all the buildings. That's just ridiculous. Let's just pick one that doesn't have a whole lot of chaos in it. This one has some primer recently painted on there. That one would have been a good candidate. Not this factory. The factory's all brick. Let's do the factory. Right? There was hardly any black that we needed to touch up. All right, so this is the only super high quality paint I'm going to use. The rest of it is just going to be craft paint. And let's get us a piece of cardboard. I'm gonna go make me a coffee. right back. We've got one of those Nespresso machines, so you're making literally individual. Now, the problem I hadn't considered is how am I going to store these things? Well, I gotta get them all done first before it's an issue. And we're going to paint a couple of individual bricks, some different colors. Even though I did that on the other building, I don't think it was even noticeable, but yeah, we're just going to do that out of principle. I mean, I look at this building when I have the one that I had, I'm like, this thing doesn't look very good. And I feel like it just painted up really, really well. Kevin, I know you tanks. You ever played World of Warships? Just not into ships. I think it's a lot hokier than World of Tanks. Especially if you play against people, because they'll do stupid shit like they'll stop a battleship and play peekaboo around an island, and just stuff that would have never done. You'll go and you'll be chasing some guy, and he's going backwards at 15 knots. I'm like, yeah, there's no ship of any size that in a naval battle was going backwards. You know, that's absurd. But maybe it's like the people that play bolt action. It's a way to get kids and people that normally wouldn't be interested in historical stuff to do historical stuff. I don't know. Coffee's ready. Let's go put some ice on it. We're kind of dragging a little bit. Way too early to be falling asleep at 6:30. This, I think, is the only bit that I painted on here, or painted on the other building, the brickwork, that wasn't craft paint. And I just did that to be, well, first of all, to use my craft paint that I have, and it works just fine. Man, why am I so sluggish? Moving off to the weekend, we should have a Saturday morning show, but maybe not a Sunday one. 'Cause I think we're going to go out of town. I'm not too worried about it. It's a weekend. I can adjust my plans accordingly on the weekend. And then next week will be a short week because I'm going to be out of the country. Well, that's at least what the plan is. And you know what I like to say? If it doesn't come to fruition, that's because Lady Luck had other plans, but that's what it's supposed to be. So might do a more Monday show, and that's about it next week. Depends if we're back in time. Okay, so this wall, it's got brickwork here. There's lots more brickwork to do around here. I do have the live chat, right? Yeah. I wonder if the daughter's going to make it back home in time to watch another episode of the Pacific. Didn't get a chance to watch one of them tomorrow. Things just kind of went. Well, they had people here. They had some people visiting her. Well, we're not going to paint the brickwork on all these buildings. We're just going to do this one. I don't know what kind of factory this was. Factory of meat cat food. A brie processing plant. I really don't like brie. And I'm a cheese person, but I don't really care for brie. It's kind of weird. It's a little too soft. All right, let me go bring the other building and see what coloration we got. I think I dusted over. Man, we got to get some interaction with you guys, or I'm gonna go to bed. I don't know why the hell I'm so sleepy. I don't know why the hell I'm so sleepy all of a sudden. Sluggish. Yeah, so that's the look we're. And I think at this point, we pick out bricks, maybe here and there, and paint them a different color. Not that it makes a huge difference, but. Oh, yeah. Ugh. Well, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to cut out because it just isn't working. I'm falling asleep. So we'll try it again tomorrow. I should have some free time tomorrow night. If I can wake up, maybe I'll come back on. But as of right now, it is just a struggle just to stay awake. Going into T-Mobile. Caught here and later. Well, let's talk about something. Maybe I can wake up. I want to do this. You finish your Godzilla figure? Was it 1/700 scale, or I was just imagining it? You did finish it. 1/700th. Which is the movie that's had the biggest, you're going to try and strip the paint off of it. Uh-oh. Something didn't come up the spec, huh? You want to do it again, but a little better. Is this something you do 3D printing, don't you? I'm going to make another coffee. Let's see if you can save me, Hoffman. Hoffman, you are my only hope. Oh, I see why this thing is unhappy. The cartridge dump is full. This thing has a magazine like bad, Japanese machine gun, big hopper. There we go. Make me another cup, damn it. I didn't wake up that early. I woke up the same time I always do. Are there Godzillas of different sizes? The established scale of Godzilla. Seemed like the one in that -1 was a pretty decent size, although you can't find a monster once he, instead of belch, he belches atom bombs. That's a problem. It's my first Godzilla miniature, so I want to spend the time on it. Yeah, 3D print, got a laser cutter recently, but don't feel like tinkering with it. Work is being a pain. Yeah, tell me about it. Work is being a different 4-letter word. Trying to print out little crowds of people at 700 scale. Can't print them out individually, but in groups I think I can print them. With a footprint. I was surprised that I still haven't finished that Godzilla movie. I was surprised that they killed the girl. Spoiler alert! I think she's dead anyways. But that's the Japanese. They wouldn't have the balls to do that in Hollywood. That's what remind me of a movie. It's oh, oops. The tanks were lame, by the way. I mean, they were cool tanks. They looked like Shinhoto Chihas, but they were like gray. They were like, oh, we gotta put some tanks in there. Do we paint them? Nah, nobody's gonna notice. Yeah, we do. But I like that one guy that's like, get the 20 millimeter, kill everything. And I'm like, yeah, Takao shows up with 8 203 millimeters, shoots multiple broadsides, and Godzilla goes, pfft. Yeah, I don't think 220 millimeter cannons are going to do anything if it can survive a broadside of 203 millimeter cannon. Actually, the Japanese might actually be 7.9 inch guns, so they're not 203 millimeter. Anyway, it's 10 times bigger nonetheless. This Nespresso makes like this foam on top of it. Just regular coffee makes like this happy foam. But it's in the 90s outside, so even more reason to put ice in this thing. Just to bring it down to a temperature. I can't burn my lips. I'd have to sue myself. The old McDonald's thing. I don't want to spoil anything with a girl, but I wasn't a fan of it. I'm not really into Asian girls. Unlike some people that haven't been on this channel in a while. But she looked cute at times. Show who? Show some of that building you already painted. Didn't get to catch the stream earlier when you finished it. Sure. Let's go ahead and cover this up so we don't have a problem. And this is the same color. This is Vallejo Deck Tan. And we're going to get it looking like this. It looks fucking amazing. I don't even like. Hello. Damn Chinese tripod motherfucker. Okay. I mean, this turned out so well, I ordered 5 other buildings, sorry. I'm just, I'm floored. And here's what I was concerned about. My concern was the inside. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it look damaged. It's going to look, but the transition between the wall paste and the where there's some kind of a finish on the inside and brickwork, it turned out in a way that I'm really happy with it. Let's put it that way. And it was easy to do. It just took, I don't know, maybe 4 hours to do. It wasn't that long. So I'm just, I'm floored. I'm floored. So, damn Chinese beep, beep, beep. Yeah, it's easy. It's super easy. It's all craft paint. And the only reason I use craft paint is because I have a lot of it. And uh, I feel like it's really wasteful doing this method. But the brick, for the red brick, yeah, I just used the deck tan. I had it. I'd have to really mix a brick color, which I guess I could do, but I had this not deck tan, hull red, and it's like perfect as a starter. So, all right, let me chug about half of this. See if you guys have done your job, waking my happy ass up. All right, I even had a Starbucks at lunchtime. Okay. So yeah, there's a sign here. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm probably going to do one in French and then maybe a Russian one if I need to, and then just remove it with, I'll just put like, I'm going to put a piece of evergreen stock and then maybe put this stuff on here so it'll hold on there. Because I don't want to commit. I mean, normally I wouldn't be worried about putting a sign on it, but I mean, hell, there's a placard for it. I mean, like, I kind of have to put something there. I love this little ladder that's here. There's a little ladder for him to climb up there. I want to paint a few of these bricks. I don't know that it'll make a damn bit of difference. You can't even tell where I did it on the other one. Or I can't even tell where I did it on the other one. You heard the beep beeps too? Did I get beeped? Huh. I don't like that. I don't like Big Brother. To have so many buildings, I got to come up with a name for my town. Well, maybe, but I think it's going to be a town that's transitional. Um, I got a name for my shop, and nobody. I'm not telling anybody what the name of it is because nobody asked me what the name of the damn shop is. The little corner house, the one that's not destroyed. I guess you guys just don't care. God, that's bright. Well, there's just in a few places. I want a little brighter this time. See if maybe this stuff pops. Yeah, well, I didn't do it. I bought it, but I bought this specifically because I have this name of this. The only building I have that's. I think I have another one that's not destroyed. This one's done by Guardian Hobbies, I think. And honestly, it looks really big compared to these other ones. This must be 172nd. The other ones are 176th. But yeah, it's a little shop here. I looked at it. I'm like, oh, I got to get that. It's got a built-in little lamp and cute. That won't be in Russia. At the house with a weird stair set that leads to nowhere. Yeah, it has an opening right above the door. You know, it's like a trap door. So we're gonna cover that up with like something, and then we'll paint a hole somewhere else. And because it's just ridiculous that the access to the second floor is there. You know, I don't know that I'm going to paint the individual bricks. I did it on this other one, and I can't even tell them. As soon as I catch wind that something's a waste of time, I just lose all interest in it. All right, now the big problem. The big problem is that I got to decide what I mixed in with these colors. Okay, because I know we use this one, and we use this one, and we use white. So I'm going to take, I am a really good guesser. I'm guessing it's sandstone. So I'm going to take, let's flip this back over. We're going to put some sandstone with this whole red and see what we get. I remember when I was, speaking of whole red, I remember when I was a kid, I loved building ships, warships, obviously. Stuff with guns. I don't want to build something with that. No offense to your hospital ship, but I want to build things with guns. Cannons. Warships are cool. Yeah, this is the color. I could paint the individual bricks if I need to later. And they were never waterline. They didn't make waterline models when I was a kid, or they didn't have them in stores. So like you got this huge hull, they want you to paint whole red, and I'm like, I don't even want this to be seen. You know, I want this to be, you know, under the ocean kind of thing. I don't want to see that. Need something a little bit more extremist difference. One more day till the weekend. Today was super challenging. But I got only a handful more work days, and I'm going to be gone for a week. I'm going to be out of the country, so it's not like you guys are going to get filming every day. What are those things called in castles where you pour the boiling oil down murder holes? That house has its own murder hole. Yeah, exactly. It's like they cut that in just for when the Nazis come by, they can pour something in there. Of course, they got to brick the people up there. There's no way to get out from the second floor. Need to get some warships. I just don't feel like doing the research for what I need. I'm thinking about designing me a 1/700th Osaka castle, unless someone already has. There's a company that makes castles, samurai castles, because I bought one as a kid. I don't remember who it is. I don't think it's Fujimi or something. I know it might be 1/700th scale. I'm not sure because it was about this big. I mean, it came on a big like base, but and I got it because I was going to use it for a base for my samurai, and I think I moved or it got put away and it got damaged, and I never finished messing with it. But there is somebody who makes a bunch. They make like 5 or 6 different castles, and I bought one of them. And I don't know if they make Osaka. Why Osaka Castle? There's something special about that one. I put in so many hours. I only have to work about 2 hours. What country am I going to? South of the border. I'm going to Mexico. Got some friends of ours that come and visit my mom almost every year, and they've been wanting us to go down there, and we finally took them up on it. Going to a place called Oaxaca. is southwest of Mexico City. Going there for about a week. We'll see. I don't really have any big plans other than I want to see ruins. And there's a couple of ruins nearby there that are very pre-Columbian. That area is actually already abandoned by the time the Westerners arrived. But we'll see. I don't have any big aspirations. Don't really have any big plans on what. Yeah, that brick was shitty right there. We'll have to fix that. I don't have any big aspirations of what is or what isn't going to happen. I'm just going to kind of go with the flow. So. Yeah, we never can seem to go to fucking Europe. I've just like, I've let it stop bothering me. I'm just like, fuck it, I'll go there when I'm retired. If it just takes too much time. It's just too difficult to get off work. Not until we get that worldwide. Actually, we need a depression. We don't need a recession. We need a depression. Get some things to slow down a little bit. Or just wait 15 or so years. I'll get to try my global entry for the first time. We got that, so hopefully it'll be less drama. I mean, shit, I got a better record than the fucking pilot. Get out of my way. My friends went to Mexico after COVID and got really sick. I go to the Philippines, take charcoal pills with you and Pepto. I think I'll be fine as long as I don't make the mistake of not popping emergency all the time. I haven't gotten COVID yet. But I certainly don't keep it from doing anything. I'm just, And the funny thing is these people that live down there that we know, they're basically they're old enough to be my parents. I have older parents, so they're younger than my parents, but they come and visit us probably every year, and we always try to go somewhere here. And they used to live in town, and they moved back there, and they have some businesses down there, and that's the only reason that they come back and forth. And they said when COVID happened that it was really bad there, like a lot of restrictions. I would have thought it would have been like, COVID, that's for, gringos worried about that shit. Fuck that. We're men and we're not going to. But no, they said everybody like got really like super restrictive there. And that really surprised me. I would have thought that it'd been like, fuck it, we don't care about that shit. But they said that they really clamped down on them. Well, I guess I won't go there to retire. Talking about food poisoning, talking about food poisoning, not COVID. Okay, they got sick from eating street food. Yeah, you don't eat street food. Food poisoning in a third world country is rough. Yeah, but it's a good weight loss plan. I could use some of that. I haven't gotten sick in Mexico in a while. But yeah, you can't eat raw vegetables and ice. I got to remember, don't drink ice. Don't drink anything that's not sealed. Make sure your cerveza is in a bottle. That kind of stuff. The sickest I've been lately was when I went to Orlando and I got this flu type A, and it wasn't really that sick. It was just debilitating, and not even debilitating, just like everything was just too much trouble. And it's like, fuck it, I'll just stay in bed, Didn't really feel that bad. The worst thing I ever felt was the freaking cough that wouldn't go away, which seems to be exacerbated by cold things. I was mentioning that earlier that a couple of years ago, and I mean like 2018, something like that, I ended up getting some cough that lasted like 3 fucking months. It wouldn't go away. Did I just get bleeped? I don't know. We're gonna have to do something different if you can't even, we're not here to cuss at people, but I definitely cuss for emphasis, and I don't plan on changing in no big brother thing. All right, let's highlight some other stuff here. Yeah, I think I can dispense with bricks of a different color. These are all so dark that as I did the first, like, oh, we're going to need that. And then by the end of the day, I can't even tell the 20 or so that I painted different. And it doesn't have to be exactly the same color as this other one, you know. Yeah, street food, you're just not used to the germs that are floating around there. It just got different germs than we're used to. We're not used to combating those. But I went to New York. I didn't get sick in New York. And I went on the subway. I went to Canada. They got different germs there. I didn't get sick in Canada. But I was popping emergency every day. But yeah, I guess I'd probably still get if it's a food poisoning. Vitamin C is not going to save your ass. That's just a totally different animal. Yeah, that third world stomach is strong. The street food looks so damn good. I don't think I've seen any color pictures. Well, they've got that town in France that's in color. That what's it called? That one that was had the massacre happen to it, and it's basically was they reserved it in the condition it's in. That's how I even found out about that town. I didn't even know about that. I did a search for like French World War II town destroyed in color, and that's what it came up. That that Surglan place, whatever it is. So that's all color. Yeah, you found out that's yeah, and I mean you're not ignorant for knowing about it. I mean I didn't. I consider myself a pretty knowledgeable World War II guy, and I didn't know about it. But I'd never even heard about it. But how many times have you heard about the Malmedy massacre? Lots. Everybody's heard about that. But not some town that everybody in the whole town was freaking, lynched, lynched by the SS. I mean, who the hell kills a bunch of like little girls and stuff like that? I see. It's like, okay, you guys may have helped, you know, resistance fighters or whatever, so we would make an example of you. But like, freaking kids, man, they're like 6 years old, man. They didn't do anything. I guess I just wouldn't have made it in the SS. Oh, you softy, you would have never made it in the SS. No, like I've said, you got to make sure you crucify the right people. You can't just pick random folks, you know? Yeah, the SS. Man, Himmler makes Hitler seem like a swell guy, you know? Yeah. Well, these are like the first buildings I've done, ish. The first ish buildings I've done. I showed it to, I got this coworker that is into artsy stuff too. And I showed it and he's like, oh, did you do that with an airbrush? I'm like, just a priming. I don't have the airbrush skills compared. I can make small miracles happen with a paintbrush. I can't do them with an airbrush. That's just, I'm not there yet. I'm probably never going to be there yet. I'd have to stop doing all brush painting and just do airbrushing. And in about 40 years, then I'd break even. The thing about the airbrush is, the thing about the brush that makes it so much easier is you don't ever have to worry about the stage where it jams on you, or thinning the paint properly, or um, you don't have any of that. It's all productive time. So, and this is like super relaxing. I'm just, I'm almost like in what's that guy's name? The guy with the big fro. I'm almost in Bob Ross mode. Oh, there's some happy fading happening here. It just kind of freaking go with it. You know. And if you don't like it, paint that area black and go over it. I mean, it's super forgiving. The stuff dries immediately. You don't get anything on your hands. It's just like it's win 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 win. We're going to do the lintels next. Let's do the inside. But the real talent is whoever sculpted this. And I've said that before. The guys who sculpt all these miniatures and stuff, they're real wizards. It probably some of them can't paint. That just is really, I find that really ironic. You know, maybe they don't want to. Maybe they don't. I get that maybe. Like I don't want to cook. I'm no interested. You have some N scale buildings you bought long ago and you need to clean up. Yeah, those should work for 15 mil, right? Work about right. Are they European or European? And I know it's hot in Texas. I'm sure you're having the same kind of weather that we're having here. Low 90s, feels like 99 kind of stuff. Hot with the side of scalding. But I said it, the worst thing about Florida isn't the heat, it's the bugs. The bugs just are a nuisance. Okay, I think this is enough. Now this is going to be look more rustic because like this one, it actually has some stonework on the corners. Okay, none of that here. This is just like we want big factory and use brick and make it tall and okay, no frills. Japanese modern buildings was in the city dioramas when I got them. Yeah, it's getting up there. High electricity bill time. This place, my electric bill is significantly less than any other town. Significantly less. We also don't have a hot water heater. We have I don't know what it's called, but it's basically hot water on demand, and it's not as efficient. But you don't have this big tank that's going all day long, 365, 24/7, 365. Which the big savings really is, at the other house, if it costs you for every dollar you spend on your water, you spend $3 or $4 just for the sewage out, and we don't have that here because we got septic. So last year you got my insulation replaced, hoping to see a difference in bills this year. We saw a big difference when we got a new at the other house when we got a new air conditioning. It just became a hell of a lot more efficient. And we lived in a cheap ass house, one that was just like cookie cutter. Like, you look in the neighborhood and there's like 3 different styles houses, and one of them was ours. But they could say, oh, houses are made cheap. Everybody makes the house cheap. We should replace the windows. Nah, replace your air conditioning. So it runs more efficient. I hope you see a difference. Trying to get out of this one before I have to deal with replacing the AC. Yeah. Yeah, let the next guy pay for it. Yeah. We still have the original hot water heater in the other house. Something like 1996. Still had it. It still looked new on the outside. It was in the garage. Okay, next up. This is one of the colors we use for the inside, so we're going to leave this alone. Country tan. What's the color that we used for that? I think we used that one. All right, let's get the black out here, and and this. Oh, this is some watery shit right here. See if I can get away with. I don't have any more. No more of these Pringles things. I have a hot water heater from 1988. The damn thing scares me. Boom! Yeah. It's okay to be scared of some stuff. Maybe that won't be what kills you. Ours was a Rheem. RHEEM. And I tell you what, whoever put that one together at the factory, they knew what the hell they were doing. They really did. Okay, I think this thing's dead. If it's dead, Tony, throw it away. I know, I'm terrible about that. Okay, I hope I can sleep at night. Folk art. Folk art makes the better paint. They're like the best quality one. Made in Norcross, Georgia. Oh, it's made by Yankees. Why does it sound like there's a solid turd in there? Yeah, I think we need to abuse the brushes a little bit heftier than that, so it can be done in this year. There we go. Now we're just going to start. We're going to start in one place. We're going to start right here. Thought I smelled something. It's unusual to smell paint. And it's really more unusual if you're going to smell paint that it smells bad. You know, acrylic paint, if it has any smell, it's actually pleasant. Generally. Did I see the new Warlord Punic War range? It's interesting how they did the ranks. No, what scale is it in? Is it still 28 mil? Well, not if they did ranks. It's probably smaller. They probably went 10, didn't they? Or 12 and 3/4 or something. Is Warlord also ex Games Workshop employees? Who's the one I get mixed up with Warlord? Who is it? I think plastic figures. Something X. Something Alarix. Something. Yeah, they make like multi-part figures. I get them mixed up because I don't have either one of those two, so I just kind of put them in the same box. Hey, Noble Shield, welcome back. They're all X Games Workshop, run by X Games Workshop, run by X Games Workshop. Okay. Why'd they leave Games Workshop? Did they go corporate or something? And they got ousted or something? What's the company that I'm thinking? It's something X. Avarix? Something. I don't have any of their stuff because they do 28 mil. You know who I'm thinking of. Yeah, Games Workshop want more sales focus. Website doesn't say the range, but it looks big for them to do ranks. Victrix, that's the one. Yeah, Victrix. Yeah, I get Victrix and Warlord mixed up because they're both multi-part figures, right? They're both 28 millimeter, and they're both things I'm not going to get into. I kind of put them in the same. I get some things confused, you know, even if they might not even be necessarily the same. You know, I just kind of put them in the same category. Like when I was doing World War II, where I was doing World War II ships, British cruisers, I get Belfast and the name Belfast, and what's the other one that I get mixed up? Sheffield. I know both ships are significantly different. The cities are nowhere near each other. I just, you know, I hear one and I think of the other one, and I kind of put them in the same. I don't know what. I don't know why, but so I did Victrix and Warlord. I'm sure there's. other multi-part figures like that. But those are relatively hard plastic, I would imagine, so you don't have to worry about the whole bendy thing. Like you paint them and then the stuff pops off of them. I got some soft-ish plastic figures that I've painted, and I'm okay with them. You know, I like plastic vehicles. Epic Hill Caesar is probably the same scale as our Epic Civil War, Epic Waterloo, which I think is 12 and a half. I think so too. Enough of it looks enough it looks off with other manufacturers. I don't keep up with the range of the companies. What scale on their Epic scales? Warlord's plastic is meh. Multi-parts weird, not pure 28 millimeter scale. Apparently 13.5. That's just dickish, you know? Because then they got you by the balls. And then you could pull a Games Workshop like, we don't make stuff for all that. I'm like, well, wait a second. You didn't get to the Guard Cavalry and Napoleonics or whatever. Like, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. Like, you're screwed, you know? You know, that's just too many eggs in one basket. I hate being cynical, but I'm not used to that. And I know that's been around for a long time, but damn it, I run myself out of soda. I'll be right back. I know it's been around a long time, but I'm just I'm not used to people making the rules and the miniatures. I'm just not used to that. And I'm fine with it. But if you're doing it for nefarious reasons, I don't know. I don't take lightly to people wasting my time. So there's three Games Workshop play games I wanted to play, and I never got a chance to play any of them. And I never got a chance to play any of them because they were discontinued before I got around to getting them. One of them was Man of War, which every person that I've ever talked to them about, they always had nothing bad to say about Man of War. Well, it doesn't mean I would have liked it, but that's a good sign, you know? Man of War is on one, Dark Future is the other one, and what's the third one? I don't remember. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about Man of War or Mordheim. Those two always have, people have kind things to say about them. So they must be pretty good games. You know? Um, I suspect that's the idea. They got you by the balls. I don't know. I'm fine with everything. Who's the company that made their war game with ships? And the ships are like, and I'll never forget this. The first time I heard it said, "Yeah, the ships are nice, but they come mounted on a flip flop." And I'm like, "Oh my god, that is so fucking true." And I base all my stuff, but man, the base is as thick as the freeboard on some of these ships. That's a bit extremist. Mount ships on a flip flop. Is it Warlord? 15 millimeters all over the place. Yeah, even in the same manufacturer, sometimes it's all over the place. That's a problem with historical in general. Speaking as a noob to historical, 15 isn't always 15 millimeter. So I look past it with some stuff I bought. Coruscant figures were giant for me, while Essex were tiny. Yeah. Essex had really short legs and little feet, and there's worse offenders than that. There was a company called Britannia, and those guys had really big heads and really tiny feet. They had like size 4 shoes, you know. Issue with Warlord's Epic is they don't seem to have changed anything about the game, just reduced the scale. So like black powder still expects you to have 12-foot table or something stupid. Mordheim was great. See, there you go. And somebody else has I may have liked it. Games Workshop felt the specialist games were taking money away from the big games. The only recent brought any of them back. Ships on a Flip-Flop is a good board game name. Somebody said that. I can't take credit for that. I really need to pay attention to these things because some of these guys are like really brilliant. I didn't realize. I know they're just being nefarious, but ships on a flip-flop. And then the guy that on the miniatures page, however many decades ago it was, probably 2 decades ago, he said anything larger than 20 millimeter is playing with dollies. And people came on. This was before people were offended by shit. This is how far away that was. So this must have been around 2000 or something like that. People didn't get offended by shit. In last century, people didn't get offended by stuff. They would just take you out in a parking lot and beat the shit out of you. You know, like, I'm going to sue you. No, I'm going to go out and beat the shit out of you. You know? The good old days. I'll never forget that. I don't know who to give credit to. I didn't come up with it. I've got my own sayings I'm proud of, but anything larger than 20 millimeter is playing with dollies. Oh, that was before I got deep in the DBA because I'd get up every morning and I'd go check the miniatures page, see what was new there. And trolling hadn't become the art that it is now, but still, there was somebody a long time ago that he made this post like, I want to paint my Japanese cartoonish like The Simpsons. What color yellow should I use for their flesh? And people came unfucking glued. Unfucking glued. And it's just ridiculous because, you know, Japanese aren't any more jaundiced looking than me, you know? Games Workshop has some weird way of handling things. Like even now, they don't let you use things from one game in another. Even if you should, because the departments compete with each other. Tribalists. That who said Dolly was genius. I don't know who it was. I've gone back and looked. You know, he might have been a dickhead, but man, I laughed. I think I laughed out loud with that one. TMP is great. I go there a lot, but still some amazing info, and it's nostalgic looking. It's hard to search for things, you know? I met some weirdo on TMP. It's not a dating site, man. I stopped going there when they started creating all of these groups. And by the way, good job waking me the fuck up, guys. Did I just get bleeped? I hope not. I'm going to go on Twitch then. Whatever the hell that is. We're cuss friendly here. There's times for, you know, you don't use it as a freaking noun. You got to use them as adjectives. Maybe it's adverbs. I don't know. They started creating too many news groups like politics. Like, I don't care about, first of all, I don't care about politics. And I certainly don't want to argue with somebody about politics that I've never met. Let's find things that we have in common, not more differences to dislike each other, you know? And I hate to sound all kumbaya and shit, but I do my hobby for relaxation, not frustration, you know? If you don't have enough frustration where you get work and paid for, you know, maybe you need something a little bit more challenging. The whole they're trying to shut us down stuff they have now is weird. Oh, on TMP? Yeah, it got really weird when they had, you know, they had a thing for food and politics and sports. And then there was this whole thing about they were paying somebody on the side to monitor the site. And then it was like, you know, the sexual preferences of the person that was doing the monitoring. And I'm like, I don't need, this is too much drama, man. I just want to go on here and talk about little toys, you know? The Wild West of the old internet before everyone was trying to die on their own little hill was fun. Yeah. You don't get bleep. Sentence enhancers. There you go. I forget that saying. You know, I've seen people put that. I'm going to die on this hill. And I certainly have that attitude about certain things. I just forget that saying, you know? I'm going to die on this hill. You mean that hill that doesn't have a name? Yeah. I'm surprised how many people that there are that really like to argue about shit. And don't get me wrong, I don't like everybody. It's, hey, you guys do it to yourself. Not you guys, but you know what I mean. So I'm not looking for reasons to dislike folks. And I really mean that about politics. I don't care about people's politics. I wish most people were very agnostic about politicians, all of them. But there's some folks that are just on a crusade. And, the only crusade I get on is I don't like people telling me what to fucking do. And I don't want to tell other people what to do, you know? If you're doing something with your life that I don't approve of, I go the other way. I can ignore the living shit out of you. But some people just want to get in your shit. And I'm like, I don't know. So I know a member of my family, I'm not going to tell you who it is, but they don't live with me. They love to argue. And they love to play video games and scream at the other people. And I'm like, it's just not worth my time. I don't want to interact with folks that I don't know in real life. Like if we all played a video game, like, hey, let's go play World of Warships on Xbox at 9 o'clock on Tuesdays or whatever. That's cool. I mean, we're kind of a family, right? I mean, we're real people, but just random 7-year-olds that, are 4 foot tall and have a 6 foot mouth. I'm just not interested in that. I don't even want to hear them. I'll play video games occasionally. I don't even turn the other volume. I don't want to listen to other people, Yeah, they have this whole thing where they don't let you advertise anything unless they pay. And then like two fat lardies went after them. I don't know, weird shit. That's just too much drama. Everyone wants to die on their nameless hill that no one's attacking. Just bypass the shit out of it. Let the Volksgrenadiers deal with that. We're going forward to Moscow. I know, there weren't any Volksgrenadiers in 1941. How old is this person? Over 40. That's my brother. He says he likes to argue. Like, I don't like to argue with people. I don't mind discussing things with people and finding commonality, But why would I want to go look for other people I dislike? I don't need, Go die on a hill I'm not attacking. Yeah, there you go. It'd be like if I was independently wealthy and didn't have to work, like if I was like Bill Gates or somebody like that, I'd be like, fuck all y'all. I'm going to an island. I'm going to design the flag, and I'm not going to give you a visa to come here unless I like you. I wouldn't want to be. I want to get in other people's shit. Just leave me alone. I mean, I want to leave people alone, man. Like that one guy. Who's the guy who's the king of Sealand or something like that? Some kook that's living in some AA bunker from World War II outside the Thames. Don't make this shit up. Can make you a count of Sealand and something that's the size of like 2 container cars or something like that. You want to be king of Sealand? Hey, you've heard of that guy. What a kook, man. And Britain just entertains this fucker. I'm like, right, knock him off that platform. Pompous bastard. The king of Sealand. The emperor. The emperor of the United Provinces of Sealand or something. Like, geez, man. Yeah, but the miniatures page, there was multiple people there that would get into arguments. I don't remember who they are anymore. Every morning with somebody else. And it was like all this like drama, and I'm like, I just don't get it. But back in the day, it was good because hey, who makes this? And you get a right answer. Actually, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. For all of its problems, back in the early 2000s, the miniatures page had, back in those days, you were less likely to get a sarcastic fucking answer. Okay? Because all of the Facebook groups, almost all of them, unless there's a strong sense of community, meaning like, say you got a DBA group, right? And all the people that are the movers and shakers of DBA, I mean, everybody knows, like, oh, you go on there and like, oh, that's so and so. He runs the events in such and such a place. And that's so and so. He runs events in other kind of places. When you just have random people on there, they're all like, it seems like they're always competing for supremacy and seeing who's the biggest dickhead. The And that's like anything, like on a car group. If you go to a car group and somebody will post like, "Hey, what kind of oil should I use for this?" You get the guy that's like, "Oh, don't forget to change the blinker fluid." There's always the same like. There's so much bullshit that you can never make out like a right answer. There's so much like trolling. And I get it. Some people deserve it, but they're just not user friendly. My favorite kook is the Vermin Supreme guy. Yeah. Doesn't he wear like rubber boots or something like that too, on top of everything else? He's like a wizard in rubber boots. Like, get a better uniform, man, if you want me to take you seriously. Yeah, is he going to run for president again? He can't be that crazy. He runs as a libertarian. Oh, rubber boot on his head. That's right. That's right. Hi, is he having a good day? It faces forward. A bad day, it faces back, or something like that. Yeah, that guy's like everybody's favorite guy at the homeless shelter in every city. Just remember, drugs have no lasting side effects. Yeah, I think he was running as a libertarian. That's can't be that bad. Let's listen to what he has to say. Hey, maybe he'll fix the fucking roads. Maybe he'll take the money in and we'll actually fix the fucking roads. Like, we're not going to fix your roads, so we won't take your money. Hey, that's a step forward. Vermin Supreme. If he was Japanese, it'd be Supreme Vermin. Vermin Supreme, yeah. Somebody played. What are those guys? The rap people in Games Workshop. The Games Workshop. This Skaven. That's what it is. Captain Skaven. Vermin Supreme. Is there any kind of vermin that isn't rats? It's synonymous with rats. I think his platform is a pony for everyone. Ooh, that makes some people happy. Who's going to clean up after all those ponies? Yeah, there's too many people that want to die on a hill. There's too many people that are like, no, no, my guy's different. I'm really not interested in arguing with people. As a matter of fact, I have a friend of mine who I know in person, and I'm also on Facebook with him. He is notorious for sticking his foot in his mouth, and he gets into political discussions with people that he knows. I don't know them on Facebook, and he just, you're never going to change anybody's mind, and he says uninformed stuff. But some of the responses he's gotten, I'm like, I've had to block some, like, it said, he's my friend. So when he posts something, it comes up. And I see some of the responses I had, and I'm like, my first reaction is I'm blocking this person that responded to him because if I ever get in a position of power, I'm going to use my power and hunt this person down and silence them because they are that much of a communist. I'm just like I'm going to block them. I don't they don't deserve a response, and but he says he likes to argue with people. But I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to see those kind of discussions, But he does stick his foot in his mouth, and he's got, I'd say half of his friends are 180 degrees opposed to what this guy has to say, but he wants to continue arguing with him. I guess, have fun with that. Well, there's a factory here. I wonder what these guys make. Yeah, yeah, white flags because it's a French factory. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't got anything against the French. Not because they're French. That'd be like judging all Americans like people that live in New York. Yeah, it's not us. That's another country. What gets me about people is when they talk shit about something I'm reading, then when I ask them if they read it, they always say no. Baguette factory. Yeah, the French are really good at bread stuff. I mean, is there anybody who hates a croissant? It's not a croissant. It's not a. He says it's a croissant. I'm like, oh well, I didn't hate them before, but now I do. No, they got bread stuff down. I always tell my British listeners. I said, how bad would English food been if the Normans hadn't invaded in 1066? Hey, Marcus, how you doing? Oh, I made a New York comment and you showed up. You're not from there. You're just visiting. You're just a resident alien. Baguette factory, yeah. They know baked goods, man. Long visit. True, I still get I teased from your hillbilly accent. It could be worse. You could sound like you're from New York. Or as I used to call it when I grew up, it's the Sesame Street accent, right? Because Sesame Street comes, you get these things from the 70s, and you got this guy that's announcing it. It's like a 10-year-old kid. It's like, hey, you know what I'm going to do that? I'm like, what the hell kind of a little rascal sounding bastard is this? You know? What kind of a Yankee is this guy? You know? Oh man, hillbilly accent. Got hillbillies in Virginia? You know where I want to go in Virginia? That freaking place, but it's not, it's open on the wrong days. That place it's right on the border. I want to say it's Danville. And that guy's got that huge tank museum. It's got like 200 or 300 freaking tanks. I want to go there. But I think it's just like a garage and we're like, hey, let's do that on the way down on the way up from Historicon. Can't. It's only open on Friday and Saturday. I'm like, that doesn't work. We're not going to go to Historicon and then get there on a Saturday. It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, there's that cough, that Brazilian emphysema I got. The only reason I call it Brazilian is there's a lot of Brazilians that come for a visit in Orlando. I figure it's probably some germ that I got from another continent. I don't think it's from North America. So, sorry, maybe it's Argentinian and not Brazilian, but baguette, an eclair. That's interesting. There is a large group of Brazilians. Where? There go. Somewhere where you're at? Oh, yeah, it's a popular destination. Orlando is a popular destination for Brazilians. So, what I've heard is they come to shop. They'll bring, I mean, not everybody, but like, for instance, my daughter had a couple of exchange students in her school here. They came from Brazil. They said, yeah, they go to Orlando to shop and, and they bring like extra suitcases because there's some stuff like electronics that's a lot cheaper here. Which basically means they just rape them at home. They mark shit up at home. So, um, yeah, that's what they said. Okay. Those bottom ones are about done. They can always have a little bit more tinkering. We'll do the tops all together, and we did these to a degree. Let's bring them up a little level. That reminds me of my first secretary. She was from Brooklyn. Her name was Dawn. Use Brooklyn accent. Dawn. Yeah, not Dawn. Southern accent. She explained to me. Well, that makes sense since there's there to shop. I've seen that with South Americans. I thought they were there for wargaming. No, no, no. Only. I mean, I know that there's people that speak other languages other than English that wargame, but it is it's definitely a English dominated field. At least historical wargaming. Not to say that there aren't in other, but I'm just it's big in Hong Kong. Why is it big in Hong Kong? It used to be a British colony. You know, Why is every toy that I want? It's made in England. Every one of them. Britain. Sorry. Sorry about that. You're hoping to find a decent group if you move up to Manchester, New Hampshire. You got family or something up there? That's what the hell, Phil? One of these plugs from this Chinese chair just popped. Well, where is it? I'll have to find it later. Manchester. It's like the biggest city in New Hampshire, isn't it? I think it is. That's one of those tax havens, isn't it? New Hampshire doesn't have a state sales tax. That's one of either New Hampshire or Vermont is like one of the whitest states in the union. I came across some article. Sometimes you'll come across some article and you're like, huh, let me read more. Like in the mornings, when you're having your bowl of cereal or your yogurt or whatever the hell it is that you have in the morning. Yeah, it was like, whitest states. And I'm like, okay, what's the whitest state? I don't know. So I looked at it as one of the 98% of, old hippies live up there. Gun-toting hippies up in Vermont and New Hampshire. They're pretty gun-friendly up there. So they say. Yep, it all started there. That's right. Good thing we can read all the rules. Okay, we got all the bottom parts for the most part. So let's go ahead and do the little crowns, whatever the hell that's called. That's kind of what they look like. They look like little crowns. I'm going to paint over it and make sure it's plenty dark. Here, let's just do one side at a time. So we'll start here, and we'll paint over this. New Hampshire is so small. The city of San Antonio, where I live, population is bigger than I believe it. San Antonio is a really big city. Is San Antonio the one that has that whole Riverwalk thing, or is that Austin? Because I want to say we're going to go to at some point we were going to go to San Antonio for some event, and it ended up canceling. And I meant the wife and I. Riverwalks in San Antonio, yeah. I don't. You're ready to get out of Texas. No more boots for you. Come on, man. It's got the coolest flag. Best state flag's the Texas flag. My opinion. How many pair of boots do you have? And by boots, I mean, cowboy type boots. For me, it's none. Now, I actually had, for whatever reason, as a kid, and I'm talking like 6 years old, 5, 6 years old, for whatever reason, back when my mother used to dress me, they decided it'd be a good idea to put cowboy boots on me. I don't know why. I was never into Westerns, never watched Lone Ranger anything, you know? Maybe it was just freaking easy or something like that. Well, I had my terror moments as a small child, and I apparently was banned from wearing boots in school as a 6-year old because I'd kick the living shit out of other kids. You don't own any boots. Good for you. Used to be really chill here, but there's just so many personalities now in Texas. It's hard not to run into a crazy person. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they're not crazy. You're trying to discriminate against them. We got speaking of crazy people, we have our share of homeless types. Every place has their share of homeless types. And there's this guy who's at a traffic light and he's fucking juggling. He's juggling like a ball in traffic to get, sympathy for tips. And I'm like, last time I checked, it's harder to juggle than to hold a fucking job, you know? People are crazy here. Is big lifted trucks there a thing? Um, well, the new thing is lifting the front higher than the back. Like, it just, remember in the 70s and the 60s and the 70s, you take stuff like what was that car that that people like to have. El Caminos. They take something like an El Camino, and the bottom of the El Camino is lower, and the top of it is higher. Now they're doing the opposite with trucks. And I'm like, but it's punk ass redneck kids that do that shit. You know, call the giant pickup trucks the compensators. Yeah, but the closest I would drive to a pickup truck would be something like a Forerunner, and those things are too expensive. I'm um, I'm just not a truck person. They just can't hold corners like I want them to. I had an Xterra. I had a used Xterra that I bought when I crashed my first car, and I really liked it. Other than the gas mileage it got, it was cool to be able to keep an eye on the person that's in front of the person that's in front of you. Like it give you some reaction time. But those vehicles, well, they don't make them anymore, but they're too expensive for the tires are too expensive. The gas mileage is terrible. I mean, I don't need to make 30 miles to the gallon, but I think mine's averaged 24 miles to the gallon in the city. It's not too bad. It's got a lot of get up and go, but 15, 16 miles to the gallon, yeah, that's pretty poor. That's pretty poor. You always wanted a Ford Ranger, the old Ford Ranger. Okay. The little one, the one that was like the size almost like a Isuzu pup, the one with no space behind the back window. So if you get in a whiplash, you can spider web the back one. Yeah, those were around for. They discontinued them for how many years? 3, 4 years, something like that. The new ones look good. I don't want all that safety shit that come in now with a boop, 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 look up, stop, doop, 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 you're leaving the lane, all that kind of shit, like all excuses so you could be on your phone and stuff like that while you're driving. I don't want none of that crap. I'm afraid everything's got that now. All the 2024s and got these motors that'll freaking stop on you at a traffic light. You think it's not going to start. I don't want none of that shit. I want air conditioning, I want Bluetooth, I want cruise control. That's about it. I don't need anything else. I don't need power windows. If you don't have power windows, you don't have to replace one. Although the one thing that's kind of a luxury, the comfort thing that I don't mind is having automatic brights. In other words, you leave your brights on all the time, And then when somebody comes, it's, they get turned off, and then when they leave, then they'll turn back on. That's handy. That can be handy. Yeah, small truck. They stopped making them after passing a new law that made making trucks that size illegal. They have the new Rangers, but they're too big for my taste. You like the backup camera? Okay. Yeah, I've got one on my car. It's not bad. I got a first thing I did to my car. It came with daytime driving lights. Nope, not on my vehicle. It doesn't. So, oh, you can't disable them. I sure as hell found a way to. So I went on YouTube and disabled the daytime running lights. And then I have a thing. I have a stick shift, and it has a built-in anti-rollback thing. Well, what it does is you got to gun the engine then to disable that a little bit. You got to give it more ass than you normally would, which basically means you end up driving more jerky. I'm like, no, we're bypassing that. And then the yellow light would stay on there because it's like, hey, this thing isn't engaged, so we put a piece of tape and bypass that too. We don't need none of this. I don't need no Big Brother shit on my car, okay? Don't need none of that crap. All right, was this the same color that we used to light? Yeah, let's go ahead and roll with it. And then sub technology is interesting, but it's like not done properly. Like my wife's car and my car both have a thing that tells you how many miles are left on your gas tank, right? But it's to the closest 10 miles. So it's like you have this precision thing that's not very precise. I remember when my wife had a Murano, it had the same thing, and it was down to the last mile. And you want to stress me out? Put me in a situation where it looks like I'm going to run out of gas. I'm like, I don't run out of gas. I don't get lost. That's my two. I may suck at everything else, but I don't want to be that guy. My wife will be all the time be like, "Oh, we'll take my car because we got to get gas. Well, how much is left? The light's already on." I'm like, "Oh my god." If your gas light's on, you waited too long. Because now all you need is go in and try to get gas, and the gas station's not working, or they're not accepting your card, or some nonsense. I'm like, I'm already stressed out about it. Baguette factory, huh? Well, I could see this being used as some Russian thing, in a built-up area. You're gonna go and have some homework to finish, some homo work to finish. Your words, not mine. All right, man. Thanks for stopping by. You have some homo work to do. Hey, it's your choice. As long as he doesn't mind, go right ahead. Oh man, I love it. I love it. Marcus, what you working on these days, man? I know you're working on something in the one true scale. There's somebody's called that on the miniatures page. The one true scale, God's own scale, 1/72. I'm like, I'm fine with people doing other scales. You know what scale I never really liked? I don't like 1/48. I don't like 1/48 scale planes and shit like that. It just reminds me of when I had an O scale train set. There was never anything for shit in my scale. It was always stuff in HO, nothing in O. And now it's like I leave the modeling hobby for like 20 years, and like Tamiya's got like a whole line of like 48 scale tanks. I'm like, where did these come from? I still think it was just like yesteryear. But yeah, it's been 20 freaking years. You don't play with dollies, that's right. 6 millimeter is actually a really good scale, except for one thing. And if you're doing like World War II stuff, the infantry is so that they almost get dismissed. And because they get dismissed, you end up playing a game where it's all about the vehicles and not about the infantry. So you lose that combined arms camaraderie. That's the only problem with it, but I think it's a good scale, I certainly had lots of stuff in that scale back in the day, but we'd use GHQ tanks and heroics and Ross figures, because the heroics and Ross figures were a little bit heftier than like the GHQ or God forbid the CNC guys. They were really, really thin. They're all like bendy, like banana men. Oh man, there's a lot more comments here. 6 million, so it's 10, 12, or 15, 28 feels too much. You're working on some Stalingrad figures. You just finished your Univermag department store. That's the name of the department store? I bet they have one item. You just needed to pimp up the floors with some movable rubble. Tank parking lot. Yeah, you'll be starting your Pegasus 126 kit this weekend. Be careful with how you clip that thing out, man. Those things are brittle as shit. They're good. They actually have it. It's actually impressive how well they go together. They are really. I mean, it is an S model, but it's close. It's close. You can fit the top and the bottom holes and not even glue them. That's how tight the fit is on them. But they're translucent. The plastic is brittle and translucent. I first got them, I'm like, oh, this is a piece of crap, where it doesn't even like block the light. You can like see through it almost. Just this one item, comrade. That's right. Yep. Yeah, there's these guys in Australia that did a Stalingrad war game in 1/72 scale, and it is salivatingly good looking. I mean, it is just like a mountain of red brick everywhere. And they had railroad tracks and freaking chemical stuff that spilled on the railroad cars. And they scratch built the railroad cars. I mean, just some insane stuff. They got an HE 111 that crashed in the middle of a battle. I mean, it's just salivatingly good looking. And it's like, this guy must be retired. Because that stuff just takes time. And it's not just thrown together. I mean, it's painted well. And I actually went to look for it the other day. And I found pictures of it online, relatively easy, but it was almost like on a website that was like a fake website. So when you clicked on the picture, it like You got the idea that this wasn't the right website. Somebody else had lifted it from it, and it was seemed like it was going to be virus ridden. But might have been 28 million. What we're talking about. It's amazing. You could change the building walls. No, it's not the one I'm thinking of. It's well, I can't show you because I got to use this phone as the camera, but it's pretty amazing. But the only thing I dislike about Stalingrad is the only thing I dislike about it. No, the main thing I dislike about Stalingrad is that the units that serve there just don't interest me. You know, um, and I'm mainly mean the German ones because that's the ones that have markings and shit like that. But I don't care about the 14th or the 24th. What is it? The 16th or the 24th Panzer Division. I don't care about them. Don't really like their markings. I guess the third Panzer Grenadier Division's okay, but they're not Grossdeutschland or Panzerlehr or well, Second Panzer stuff like that. They're just kind of you know the guys that were in Stalingrad. I don't know. It's a little too built up of an area. Although with as much damage as some of those buildings, it was almost kind of like a desert of just rubble in some places. Oh, and by the way, I started listening at lunchtime to the Gazala one. Tick is really good. He's really, really good. Or he speaks to us because he gives the kind of details that we're interested in hearing about. About, what unit has what tanks and who's the commander and where they moved. That's the kind of stuff that we like. You can like visualize all that kind of stuff. It's not I find. I mean, I could be wrong. I feel like he's really balanced. He's not like trying to beat a drum. He's not trying to die on a hill. Early Barbarossa seems like it'd be cool, like early Russian tanks and early Germans. Still, same reason the desert's cool before Tunisia. I agree with you completely. Noble Shield on both of those. Um, Tunisia. It's almost like its own campaign. And I would say Sicily is probably the same thing as well. I think Italy, Sicily, and Tunisia are three different things. In other words, I would split Sicily off from Italy. But Tunisia's kind of different than the desert. And I don't think that I have read enough about Tunisia to really understand whether I like it or not. I think it's got potential. It just lasts for such a short period of time that sometimes you find those things like it's very difficult to get excited about a period that's so short. But there's people that do stuff for Battle of the Bulge, and Battle of the Bulge was even shorter. Or I guess Normandy's not very long either. So when you go with that respect, Tunisia's as long as Normandy. You know, Tunisia's what? Um, December, January, February, March, 4 months. Yeah, it's longer than Normandy. Now, Tunisia's interesting because it's got not only you have the British and the Americans, but you got Americans with yellow stars, which I think actually looks pretty cool. It's unusual without looking horrific. It's got some interesting vehicles with interesting paint schemes, and I'm just talking about the Allies stuff. You know, I think I saw a picture recently of a 17 pounder firing in Tunisia. I mean, a 17 pounder is like deadly to begin with. In Tunisia, I mean, it can't be stopped. I mean, it just devastate everything. Oh, I got a message here. Let's see if I can check this text. Just knows away. Okay. I like these automatic messages I can send. I don't have to type the whole thing out. I like how he sets up the differences in weaponry and the unit organization makes a difference. Yeah. Yeah, we like the unit organization. The only thing that throws me off is, and I'm reading a book at the same time on Audible about, and I mentioned this one before. It's called, it has a lot of detail, really good detail in it as well. And it's called Beta Farm to Crusader. And it has a lot of detail. And what really throws me off is, as a kid, you don't understand that, you got Matildas, but the Matildas were in the tank brigades, not in the armored division. Well, in 1940, they had Matildas in the 7th Armored Division. So it's like, all bets are off sometimes. So, yeah, that book, I'm reading it at the same. That's the one I'm reading after I finished the nuclear war one, which was really, I don't know what the word I could even use to describe it. It was disturbing, but I went back to the Beta Farm and Crusader, and that was just lots of freaking TOAEs and stuff like that. And yeah, there it is you got the Matildas that showed up in September 1940, and they were in the 7th Royal Tank Regiment, which is one of the brigades of the 7th Armored Division. So, main reason I see people like Tunisia and because the U.S. is involved, so it's not just Britain or Russia. Well, so and I used to have people I would game with. They had to have the U.S. in it for them to be interested. And I'm like, look, I'm already American. I have no problem with that. Thank goodness. But I like to role play a little bit and pretend, it's no fun doing Americans because, we don't have any of the fun accents. Like I love playing Russians or, Brits or that kind of stuff. And you still have Italy for whatever they did. By the way, the Stalingrad YouTube I was thinking about was from War Games Illustrated. That may be the same one. That's in 20 mil. I was trying to get an answer from Wolfman, who was on yesterday, because he has a War Games shop, and he was talking about War Games Illustrated. War Games Illustrated was the original one that I knew 30, 40 years ago, whatever. Then you got Miniature War Games. Those are the two oldest one. But you got War Games, Soldiers, and Strategy. How do those three stack up against each other? You got an opinion on them? I love War Games, Soldiers, and Strategy. Not every episode, but, I like the fact that it's digital. So I could buy it. It only cost me $5 instead of $10. I could print whatever the hell I want. And I can put them in my binder here. And the photography is just beautiful. It can be. So we can do fighting like this. That's what my game's going to look like if I ever get around to doing it. And I'm working towards that. We're going to build, we're going to do scenery for the rest of the year, I think. Trees are next after we do the buildings. So just one thing at a time. I can't work on everything at once. Pip, pip, cheerio. That's right. Or you could play Canadians and apologize. You could destroy buildings and, oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Well, the thing is, a lot of people are like, hey, when are we going to see this stuff in action? And I'm like, they don't realize, okay, I'm doing this because it's fun and it's therapeutic. Okay? And along the way, we're building towards a goal, but I'm doing this daily so that I don't turn into a crazy person or an alcoholic. I mean, and knowing me, I'll be a crazy person before I'll be an alcoholic. I just don't drink that much. And there's some people that really like to mess up, But that's what it is. This is my therapy session. Nothing is a problem here. Even when you get buildings that are broken, it isn't a problem. Okay, it's all an easy fix. So a lot of people think that somehow gaming is therapeutic. I don't think so. It's fun, but this is the therapeutic part. And then you have something to show for it. It's not like, oh, well, I played that video game and there's nothing there to show for it anymore. So, sorry, eh? Like I said before, you got to be a real asshole for the Canadians not to take you prisoner. Freaking SS assholes. Everybody I met in Canada was super nice. I'm sure there's assholes in Canada. Just like there's probably nice people that are locals to New York. Maybe. Marcus, you're not a local. But this is this is a therapeutic journey. Just think of the people that build models for relaxation, right? Um, those people build models, they're never going to be in a fucking game. And they're perfectly fine building them and putting them somewhere. Hey, whatever it is that gets you there, you know, let's not get too hasty here about the nice people from New York. Well, it's the environment makes people terrible. There's a there's a city in South Florida. I'm sorry, did I say one city? I meant multiple cities on the east coast of South Florida that are just ate up with assholes. You know, um, and it's the environment where you have to fight every single living human being to do something really simple. Just basically makes it's just a dog eat dog environment, and I don't want to live in a place like that. And I don't live in a place like that. The closest I get to is when there's a hurricane coming, and fortunately, I live in a part of the state where hurricanes really aren't a thing, or if they do, they're so underpowered by the time they get here. Fortunately, but people they go out of their mind. They go out of their mind. They think it's World War III, and they want to fight everybody in the store, and everybody's in their way. I'm like, I just I don't want to deal with people like that. Gaming should have some intensity to it. Makes it more authentic, or like slight stressful element to a game. Well, yeah, but this isn't any stress. This is like I'm like, oh, I've gotten this much done. I'm just kind of putzing around. What color should I make these tubes? I'll have to go look and see what they have on there. I don't want them to stand out too far. And I want them to work for Russia too. So I don't want to do some fancy copper and then be like, they would never have had that in the motherland. They would have sold it on the black market and bought shoes. They only have 3 holes in them. The baguette factory, huh? Yeah, if you look at like businesses, like French businesses during World War II, they're not advertised like United States stuff is now. Man, that's blurry as shit when I take these off. I'm getting old, or my eyes are getting old. How was this with the weak readers? Which I almost need to go up a step. These are like the weakest they're available. Oh, that's clear. Also, a very collaborative gamer, but I like the intensity of the narrative of the game. Yep. Yep, it's all about the narrative. It's all about the movie stuff that happens. Some people are worried about, oh, I'll beat somebody else. I'm like, I just, I did play a tournament type game for 18 years. I didn't play it because it was a tournament. I played it because I wanted to play with my own stuff. So I'd be likely to create more stuff, and I didn't want somebody damaging my shit. So that's the reasons why I did it. I didn't do it because it was a tournament thing. I'm always competitive, even if it's if it's a regular game, but the tournament isn't what drives me. And it certainly isn't prizes. I've got this model meeting that I go to monthly, and there's a couple of guys that are really high pressure about like, you need to come to this meeting, and we have this other one in this competition. I'm like, I've played a competitive game for 18 freaking years. And even though we didn't have a huge amount of people that played in the United States, I've won the national championship before, multiple times. I don't need to win more stuff. It's nice that my guys did well, but that's not the driving force behind it. So I don't need more. I don't have any of my DBA stuff on the walls. I don't know that I don't know that I will. I don't know that I'm going to put it up. And I don't hate DBA, but that was just kind of like a stage. Like, okay, we're good. We're done with something else. I haven't even put my 15 millimeter figures up. That case isn't up. This just 20s are in there. But I don't need to, I don't need to go to Historicon entering a painting contest and somebody doesn't even paint says, oh, well, you didn't do very good because you entered too many figures. I'm like, well, I entered a DBA army. Well, that's too many figures. Go fuck yourself. Go fly a kite up your ass sideways, I don't need somebody telling me what to do. I didn't come here for that drama. It doesn't matter that other people like my stuff. It's important for me to like it, so I'll keep creating more stuff. If you guys like it and I hate it, guess what's going to happen? I'm not going to make it anymore. If we both like it, that works too. Okay, but I am the picky bastard that needs to stay happy, or I'm not going to do any more of this stuff. That's why I painted this, and I was so happy with this. I went and I ordered 5 or 6 more of them. I just floored the living shit out of myself. I'm like, I dig this. This is going to work. That made me very happy. And if I see somebody whose stuff I like better than mine, well, I'm going to turn my stuff up to 15 then, But I don't need to win awards in a game, or a competition. What's the other thing they do? They do like door prizes. Like, I don't want to build. I don't want to win a battle. Freedom to me is worth more than any of that. I want to be able to say, like, you know what? I want to build this next. Not like, well, I got to do whatever I want next. No, you don't get to tell me what to do. I've got things that we got to accomplish. So right now we've got some destroyed buildings in that. Next weekend that comes along, but maybe not this one. I'm going to do the buildings for a while, but I think when I finish all these buildings, we'll try doing some smoke, because we do have a panther that I hear is on fire. I've heard from a good source that there's a panther on fire in the first scenario I'm going to try with the vehicles. But I got to get organized, and there's like a church in that battlefield. I'm going to build it with these buildings. The problem with the church is it's a certain village of Longev. I don't know, however you say it. And there's an actual church there. And, it should be a church that looks like that one. But, it is just a scenario that gives a situation. So who says it's got to be a fucking church? It could just be another building. It could be this. This could be in the place of where the church is. So, and the church was like freaking $80 or something like that, plus shipping. And I'm like, I don't mind having a church once we have another village, but it'd be like, hey, I'm going to buy this building. What do you do? I'm a skyscraper first. I'm like, what about the small buildings that go instead with skyscraper? You can't start like, I'm going to build a Roman Colosseum and build the other buildings around it. I'm like, you got to start with the little stuff first, man. Panther on fire. Yep. You aced that quiz, man. The only thing that's going to suck is if I run a game, you're going to see the background in it, right? Because it's not this false background that you can play a game with. You know, that's the only catch 22 is, you know, you film in the garage, there's going to be like a freaking garage in the background. You know, somebody may be able to green screen it. I'm not that guy. I'm I make all my magic with paintbrushes, not virtually. Reminds me that I need to look at terrain stuff from my FLGS since I have no bolt action historical terrain. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, man, on Etsy. A lot of stuff on Etsy. A lot of stuff on Etsy. They even have stuff that's even listed as for bolt action. I heard they were coming out with a new version of bolt action. I heard that. I'm like, oh, they're up to the old tricks of like, hey, we got to sell more rule books. What do you do? Oh, come up with a new one. Friendly local game store. Yeah, we actually have a couple of those. Hobby stores are kind of a gone thing, but you know, we have very few things at Hobby Lobby. We've got a comic book store that has some Games Workshop paints. We have another game store that has some paint, but they're really low on stock. And then the place that has all the Vallejo line is the place I call Pussyfoot's Paradise. And yeah, they got a lot of paint there. And they have really good hours, actually. They're open like really, really late. They're just all the way on the other side of town. But that's one of the American flag. They might get offended. That's why I call it Pussyfoot's Paradise. Let's see that. What's the other terminology for the bar I came up with? Marxist glory hole. Yeah, it's a Marxist glory hole. Yeah, in September, at least this have been like many years, Games Work does new edition every 3 years. Figure force fields, hedges can be done easily enough. Buildings to the tricky part. Yeah. Well, maybe I'll inspire you. I don't know. That's what we're here for, to get this shit together, you know? Uh-oh. I think the Deuter just showed up. Hold on 1 second. Okay, that was not the daughter. All right, gang, enjoyed as always. Catch y'all later. Okay, man, I will be on tomorrow. Um, I don't know what time, but I will be on tomorrow. I'm going to be all by my lonesome tomorrow until, well, I'm probably going to go to bed before the girls come back. So, you guys did a good job of keeping me from signing off because I guess it was about an hour and a half ago. Hoffman started off, so it's much appreciated. That's literally the best thing you guys could do is just hang out with me. Just listen to me go on and on about shit. Interject from time to time. Because that's what I come on here for. I come on here to get this stuff done, interact with you folks. Hopefully, you guys get some kind of motivated to do whatever hobby it is that you're wanting to do. And, it's kind of like talk radio with all the arguing and bullshit. Which is what I used to listen to many years ago. But I'm not interested in politics. I'm not interested in sports. And I'm not interested in conflict. We don't need more conflict. So, yeah, seems like this is a lot more involved than that other building, but that's okay. That's why we're not doing all the brickwork of all of them. We'll just do one. This one will get finished. We'll add it to the other ones. Actually, this other building isn't even sealed yet. So, and the water-based paint, this is the most water-based paint of all of the paint that I have. This is a craft paint. It does pretty well with water as a thinner. Meaning, like I'm not adding the wetting drops, the Liquitex stuff. I'm just using regular. I'm using really the bath water from the paintbrushes. So it works pretty well with that. We'll probably go through a 9 unless I fall asleep before then. But that seems like a pretty reasonable amount of time to do this for. So tomorrow we'll work on the inside. And I forget what order I did them in. I did it in the correct order. I think I did floor, then walls. Or maybe I did walls, finished the floor, came back and touched up the walls. I think that's what I did. But I remember I thought about it a little bit, picked one method to do it, and I was really happy with my choice. And I hardly had to do any touch up on it at all. I'd rather just do things the right way than touch them up. So, and I guess we're just going to film with a phone for the time being because I just don't feel like getting frustrated with the camera and not, dropping the connection and shit. I mean, the computer dropping the connection. It could be that so many people in this neighborhood have switched to the same internet system I have that we're all sharing the bandwidth and that's causing an issue. Which, if that's the case, there's nothing I can do about it. But if the phone works, well, one thing's for sure, the camera can get a hell of a lot closer. So, okay, we'll probably have to touch a little bit. I don't know what I'm going to do. Leave as the background color here of the sign. Probably leave it black. Figure out what kind of a border we want on that. But that's trimming stuff. Yeah, it's pretty happy with that. I got to do some research and find out what kind of material they use for these pipes to go to the roof. I don't want to assume they're black. I don't want to assume that they're copper or anything. I want to see some period stuff and see exactly what kind of colors that they used on that type of thing. So I think I said I did a preliminary color on the walls. Then we did the floor, and some of the floor ended up getting on the walls. I touched the walls back over with a lighter color. So let's try that. Let's try that. Let's try that. So we're going to use this area here. We're going to use craft paint. We already have some black there. That's crucial to my painting style. What color is this? Fawn. This is the color that we use for the outside of this building. Desert sand. Let's use no desert sand on this building. Okay? The brick can all come from the same brick factory, but people got to put their own little spin on it. And we used some of this for the interior on the last one, which is almost like I was duck egg blue there for the Spitfire. I can totally see a Spitfire being on the bottom of that color, whatever color this is. Granite gray, and this one was watery as shit. As opposed to, for instance, this black from Folk Art, which is really, really thick. I don't know if that's a Folk Art thing. I have a Folk Art yellow, but yellow's, well, that one isn't Folk Art. The Folk Art is definitely pretty thick. Let's play with it. Let's play around with this fawn. See where this takes us. Let's see where this takes us. We'll put a big old glop of it there. We've got to go to a bigger brush. Let's go to a brush that we can dry brush with. And mix some black into it. You get some kind of industrial type gray, which is perfect. And we'll put this as the first coat on the bottom floor inside here and also on the inside here. So we're just going to just kind of dry brush here. Try not to get any on the floor, because it's just extra freaking work I'll be creating for myself. Having to undo that later. That's the other thing. I can just lay it on here and it's not like I'm, stressed out grabbing it or anything. What did we say this was? A baguette factory. I'm going to try my hand at some French advertising on the side of the buildings. Maybe not from the standpoint as they might go on the Eastern Front as well. Let's get some little water in here. Not truly a dry brushing method, but kind of a wet dry brushing, so to speak. This would, I think, harder to pull off to look good if the building was in good shape. Which, like I said the other night, the problem with doing a building that's in good shape is you're more likely to, you can't have an empty building if it's in good shape. You got to have furniture You know, like there was something there. The fact that this one's destroyed, they could be like, yeah, we just took everything out of there because we're not living in this place anymore, or what have you. Now that could be the backstory. But if the building is in good shape, like why isn't there even a chair or a table or something like that in there? You know, got to come up with a reason why that's not there. But this thing just being trash, you know, there's some like little roof tiles. This had a roof, and I guess it got blown to Kingdom Come, and now there's no roof. You know, but there's still a roof tile or two that fell to earth or fell inside the building. So there's that. And I'm not really interested in super great coverage over this black. That's part of the added bonus of being a destroyed building is. And now after finishing one and being happy with it, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Like I could see what it led to. First time I was doing it, I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work out. And then it turns out better than you expect, and you're like, all right, we're good. we're on the right track. We know what we're doing. I said sometimes the biggest, you get writer's block. Sometimes you get painter's block. You're like, I don't know what I'm going to do next. So you don't do anything, and you get analysis paralysis instead of just jump in and paint your way out. You know, I'm I'm not concerned with my problem solving skills when it comes to color and technique. I've done this so many freaking times that even if I am not happy with it, I got the skills at least to be able to fix it. I'm like, this is no good. We got to send this back or what have you. And sometimes just being afraid to make a decision basically means you don't get anything done. See, now it's closing on 9. I don't want to stop now. There's one on a tear. No, we need a little bit more black than that. We're going to lighten it. We're going to lighten it up in due time. But we got to put the right base on here. I said this dry brushing technique works well, but you can't sit there and just dry brush over black once in one color and expect to be happy with the results if you want it to have a lot of depth. So you got to go over it 3 or 4 times. And, each time you go over it, It's quicker than the previous step because you're using less and less paint. You don't need to get it everywhere. The step really it takes the longest is painting everything in black. That's why using the airbrush really can speed up on that time. If all you're interested in doing is just giving it that base color so that other colors can adhere to it. Okay, so we've gone all the way over this building. We have kind of a dark gray kind of color. So now we're going to, if we're happy with this beige, if you're happy with this beige, slap your ass. Okay, then just add a little bit more of this, whatever color this is. Fawn. I don't think we're going to see any deer inside of here. Whoa! But make sure it's all mixed on there. There we go. And we can have some colorations and some differences. This had some kind of a wall spackling. And, you know, after being damaged and probably a fire or two inside, you're going to have some discolorations there. And the only bad thing I can say about this hovels at this time is they're just so heavy and so brittle, the material, that if it hits the ground, it's going to shatter. And as long as it shatters in a few pieces, you're fine. But if it gets into a lot of pieces, you're going to be doing some archaeology trying to put all the dinosaur back together. So we've already put one color down. This is the second one. I suspect we're probably going to do about 3 more. Just give it some depth. Don't have to. You could stop right here if you wanted to. Oh, we meant to do this stuff here, but... poo. Yeah. It's not like I can't figure out how to mix this color again. Let's just work on the inside for the time being. And there's all kinds of little details in there, like bullet holes, like somebody went and stormed on the inside and shot somebody from behind and with a submachine gun and put a bunch of little bullet holes in the walls. All kinds of subtle little stories that are in there that they almost write themselves. So just think of this as like a wet, dry brush. I don't really want to do a wash on any of this stuff because it takes a while to dry. I don't mind doing it on cobblestone. There's a couple of these that have like some cobblestone stuff inside of it. Maybe this one. This one will have, this area down here will have a wash on it. We'll put a brown wash over this. Oh no, we need that. Now let's go over the stairs. Now, we're getting more fawn here. I want to get this in a regular appearance, like it suffered some kind of damage or something. Start seeing some of that coloration appear up here. And we might add a little bit of maybe a green tint or something to it. Just something that was, you know, the inside of this factory was, the walls were painted slightly different. And this stuff right now is a little bit more dry than previous. But we're going to stop short of the floor. We're not going to do the floor today. We'll do the floor tomorrow. That's where we'll pick up. And this does have, which one's this one? Where's is that this the floor? it's pretty significant floral that it has on there. So. And you can even do some stuff like, take some of this color here and you put some on the outside of the brick just for a little difference in color. Just towards the bottom, like. Little things like that just to kind of make it look irregular. Yeah, it's slow and steady wins the race. Okay. We don't have any of this particular color dry brushing on that wall. See, I went from falling asleep to it's past the time I said I was going to stop, and I'm still rolling. So doing all these buildings may take about a month or so. Seems about right. Give it some irregularity. It's pretty dark right here. And we got to do the bottom floor too, the floor underneath here. Not worried about this so much. We might make those a different color or not, but we need to do the inside just for consistency purposes. Yeah, we need to add the one that has a. You know what? I'm at a stopping point. We're going to pick up and we'll do the inside there, and then we will do the floor and such on both of those. But this is where we are so far. This is going to be spackle as well, although I may do this in a different color. Like, this building was like maybe a light green, nothing crazy, nothing, we're not doing this, but take this fawn, add a little bit of like, maybe something like this to it. Not this color, but adding this to one of the other ones to create kind of an intermediate color in that. We'll figure it out as we go, or maybe one like this. What color is this one? English ivy green, something like that. Add that to the fawn or create some kind of an intermediate kind of color. But anyways, this is where we're at for tonight. Thanks for joining me. And like I said, we're working our way towards having something that looks equivalent to this and working our way through the town, building it up and looking at it destroyed. So, anyhow, thanks for stopping by, folks. We'll catch you guys on the next one, and that'll probably be tomorrow evening. So until then, guys, have a good night and enjoy the rest of your Thursday. All right, folks. Bye-bye.